Well, earlier today, I came into possession of some incredible information relating to Abdul Azidi, the twice-failed asylum seeker and sex offender who doused a woman and a child with a corrosive substance in Clapham. But the real story here is much, much bigger than Abdul Azidi. What I'm about to reveal shows two things. Firstly, the astonishingly low value that our asylum system places on public safety, specifically a woman's right not to suffer life-changing chemical burns at the hands of a rogue asylum seeker. But also, and I think this is the much bigger story, it appears that for the price of a second-hand Vauxhall Corsa, you can essentially buy permanent residency in Britain, even if you are on the sex offenders register. Abdul Azidi, originally from Afghanistan, came to Britain illegally in the back of a lorry. He tried to claim asylum in 2016, was rejected, he tried again and was rejected again, but then he converted to Christianity, and in 2020, at the third attempt, he was allowed to stay in Britain. In the meantime, though, he'd been found guilty of charges of sexual assault and indecent exposure. The victim has since come forward and said that she thinks he definitely should have been deported. Instead, he avoided jail and was made to sign the sex offenders register for 10 years, as well as carry out 200 hours of unpaid work. And then, as we all know, he went on to douse a woman and child in a corrosive substance, leaving them with life-changing injuries, causing mass panic across our capital city before apparently throwing himself in the Thames. Now, the first angle on this is what little value is placed on protecting the public from monsters like Azidi. A Freedom of Information request, which GB News can exclusively reveal, shows that Abdul Azidi claimed legal aid. Hardly a shock. When he was arrested for his sex crimes, his solicitor fees were 159 quid. Then, when it went to court, the solicitor costs were £1,114 and the barrister cost us 1,280 quid. So the criminal convictions cost in total was £2,580. Now, Azidi tried to claim asylum in Britain 3 times between 2016 and 2020. So according to the Ministry of Justice data, that cost just £2,635.20. So the grand total of the cost for his criminal case for sexual offences and then his civil asylum cases is just £5,189.99. Now, I know a lot of people watching this right now will be jumping up and down saying, that's hardly any money at all. That's great. We've hardly paid anything for this guy. Yeah. Well, let me put it to you like this, OK? That's all it costs for a lunatic who arrives illegally in the back of a lorry to have the freedom to rampage around Britain, dousing women and children with a corrosive substance. £5,200 is the value of those people's lives, is it? But the big story for me is this. It is simply not true that every single asylum seeker is poor and destitute. They're not. I was told directly by an impeccable source with inside knowledge of the Home Office that some people fly business class into major UK airports from countries like Egypt and Turkey and then claim asylum. These people clearly have money. They would not need to claim legal aid. They could just pay for their legal costs themselves. And indeed, those legal costs are means tested. Well, the cost of breaking into Britain and going through 2 failed asylum claims, miraculously discovering the Christian faith, and then being accepted at the 3rd attempt, would cost you, as we can reveal now, somewhere in the region of just £2,635. That's it. £2,635 is apparently the price that we value the right to live in Britain, even if you've entered illegally. That is hardly a deterrent, is it? Everybody knows that we barely deport anybody. And now, everyone all over the world knows that if they've got £2,635, they could land at Heathrow Airport tomorrow and end up with a British passport within a couple of years. If you decided that you wanted to become a sex offender at some stage during that process, that would set you back around £2,400. And of course, we would still allow you to stay. The grand total there is £5,189.99. So there we have it. What the Abdul Azidi case appears to reveal is that for the price of a second-hand Vauxhall Corsa, you can be given the right to live in Britain indefinitely, even if you are on the sex offenders register.